Your water bottle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. This is how the car feels driving daily on daily roads.
I'm so jealous, bro. You get to drive.
What, you drove the whole morning?
Yeah, I know.
You drove on B roads eh?
No lah, I drove so senile today. It's just so proper today.
Every time I go drive with you, you drive the better roads, then you left over for me.
I asked you, you want to drive or not? Then you say, don't want.
I let you low.
Oh, thanks, Bobby.
You enjoy low.
Okay, shall I Apple CarPlay for you?
Can you take some wide angle footage from this side on me
Sure,
driving? Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, let me see.
I need some footage of me driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give a name lah, can you?
Oh, okay. But this one not wide enough. iPhone wide. Use iPhone better. Samsung the video recording very close crop one. iPhone you use wide angle is very nice. Yeah. So easy to drive. Thank you. Got some like here, and then you pan to the front. Then after you pan back. Yeah. It's a wide car, but it's so easy to put the car on which part of the road you want. It's just so easy. For daily drives, it's fantastic. Alright. Yep, thanks. Do we want to do the British journalist part?
Seriously do that?
Some of them!
Really?
Yeah, the more junior ones. As if they are driving manual. Why? They want to show this motion, you know? Yeah.
So sad, coming to an end.
There's more. I really like the ergonomics of the car. Why the music turned on?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I want to... Sorry. You mind if I test how the music sounds?
Yeah, I get demonetized, huh?
Oh, okay.
No, you play.
Demonetize you.
See, this whole part is so simple. Then you rest your arm here. Then you can rest your elbow and then hold the steering wheel. So nice. For daily. But because everything is so low, right? I keep having this feeling that, hey, is it that I'm not sitting low enough? But when you look at the road, you're actually sitting pretty low, and you cannot go any lower already, the seats. Yeah. I keep having this feeling that I want to sit lower. Like everything on chest level, just here. Do you feel you're sitting tall compared to your Spider?
No.
Compared to the dash?
No. Oh, compared to the dash, but the passenger...
Your Spider should be somewhat like that, right?
Higher.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the cowl, this is called a cowl, is higher. So even if you sit at this height, you would have felt, I'm immersed in the car. But this one, everything, they built it so low for visibility, right? Oh, I'm already sitting very low, but I still have this sensation that, am I sitting too high?
Actually, it's okay this side. If you just look at this side, it's okay.
This part lah.
Yeah.
I mean, what mode? Tour lor.
Yeah.
No need to say tour mode.
Go and track there.
Sport. And then track. Even more garage. Wow. Then we leave some distance with the car in front so that we can do momentary bursts of and then you finish it with yeah, that's the most often thing you will do. Now, these cars, the way they sound is because Europe has this OPF filter thing, right? But Malaysia doesn't. So, buy these, bring it to Malaysia, give the exhaust a little bit of a tweak, and they should sound proper. If people think we overlay the song, no.
This is Akusta Berjaya music.
Taiwan version.
What happened? It disconnected.
Driving a Lotus to the Lotus factory is something. What you want?
Full spot for you. Full track for you. Track.
Track mode. I wonder if there's a launch. That's how nice the AMG engine sounds are. And on British B roads. Oh, see, I brake downshift. Pop, 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 pop. And then you need the last one. Oh, I cannot. So grippy. Oh, because of the turbo lag. It rolled the car first before the power blast out. So the car got gripped. What's that?
I'm scared. My breakfast coming out, bro. Boy, Kali. Fuck up! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Fuck up! Later, put you on cat's eye in his breakfast. Oh! Bro! Stop it!
That is a beautiful car, bro.
Bro, I can't appreciate it anymore.
Bro, look at this. Beautiful, eh?
The Excel.
Wow.
Hey, remember this is original Excel sheet.
Wow.
Excel before
Beautiful.
Excel sheet was famous.
Absolutely beautiful. You know, this place, right? This factory, right? You see so many car guys working here. So it's like a car meet, you know. Their parking lot, right? Looks like a car meet, right?
Yeah.
You saw E92 BMWs. You see Civic Type Rs and things like that, you know, people who work at
Sylvia.
Lotus. Yeah, Sylvia's 180 SX. Really,
Bro,
car guys.
Bro, I got a headache.
Why?
Because you don't like a...
You are weak. You see, car guys.
Oh.
Skoda VRS, car guy.
Yeah, above. Sorry, above.
Yeah.
595. Bro,
Really?
a headache, bro.
Huh?
Headache way.
You are weak.
Is this
Sorry.
payback yesterday for putting on the cat eye, is it?
I'm sorry. At first the jerking was unintentional, then it was intentional. I'm sorry, bro. I hope you still love me, bro.
Screw you.
Love me tender, love me sweet.
Too bad I can't revenge you later. Sliding won't scare you either.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, the camera is good. Camera is not bad. Fantastic.
Oh.
That's why people who sit here feel safe. Look at him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Morning.
Hello again.
Hi.
Did you get your photograph?
Yes, I did. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
Yeah.
There was so much noise here. I went out to a housing estate. A few
Oh, fine.
kilometers away.
Okay. Yeah, it was quite funny. This gentleman was photographing his Zamira just here. And I heard one of the mechanics fire up one of the racing cars.
He took the other way.
When we're just testing the engine and the gearbox, we do a circuit around the building.
Yeah.
There's a car coming, there's a car coming. Anyway, they just drove down the public highway instead, so, which was a little bit strange. So that was fine. Yeah. Hello, I'm Clive.
Thomas.
Hello, Thomas. Nice to meet you.
It's a real honor.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Ezra.
Hello, Ezra.
Hi, Gerard.
Hello, Gerard. Pleased to meet you. Hello, Bobby. Hi.
This is from
You guys did a lot of favors on our cars as well. Made them handle like Lotuses.
Okay. That's
Yeah, we still have cars running with those badge.
okay.
Handling tuned by Lotus.
Okay,
Yeah. If you remember from back in the day. Correct. Yeah.
It does make a big difference.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yes, okay.
Piece of history. Yes. Yeah, please.
We'll do it with these in the back.
Start the tour. As I said, Lotus shaped how Formula One cars looks today. Wow, my God!
what we can probably do is have a look around
Yeah.
and then I'll take you through the chronological story because otherwise we'll just start walking past. Okay.
All right. The trophies.
Kind of like see the history of Formula One.
Oh my God.
All in one place.
That's the second car there.
Ezra, do we have time to follow the trip, to follow the tour, and then we record our own video? If not, it will be a bit rude when he was trying to speak, and then we
You have a look at the whole place first, then you'll start the tour of the
Okay.
place.
Otherwise,
Oh,
it's too noisy
oh.
when everybody's chatting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll let him guide us first. Then only we start.
And there is a photo somewhere. Is it up here?
This carburetor.
I'll
Yeah,
look out
carburetor.
for it, but I'll try and
Full
find it later. There's a photo of Colin Chapman at the London Earls Court Motor Show in period, where he is sat in this chassis, and the first Type 12 had this chassis. It was built on this chassis. This is really interesting because it's the first Formula One car that went racing, I believe, and it's the last front-engined car before we started putting engines in. So first Formula One car from Lotus, sold to customers as well. What's really interesting about the design is so you can still see space frame chassis, space frame tubular chassis, quite large, quite a lot of space for the driver to sit in and rattle around in. But if you have a look in and down, you'll see that you can see from the side air intakes that the engine is on a not on a flat plane. It is angled at the through the chassis, and you can see the drivetrain comes through here at an angle through where the driver is sat.
Whoa.
Oh,
And then, so actually, the driver's
sits
left,
on one side.
yeah, he sits one side of it, but his left leg goes over the left to the clutch on the left-hand side, and his right leg stays on the
My
right-hand
God.
On the left-hand side of the tunnel.
side. Yeah.
Wow.
So the crankshaft is spinning between his legs.
No, it's the drive shaft. Drive shaft.
Drive shaft.
Yes,
sorry.
the drive shaft. Wow.
Insane. And hence I declare I have balls of steel.
Exactly.
And I think one of the things they might have faced is dirt getting into the carburetors from here. Yeah, because the wheels are here. And
They put the shoe, right?
yeah, so the shield is kind of like...
Madness. All for the pursuit of low riding center of gravity, to move it sideways instead of below the driver. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you're not sitting on top of it.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
My
You'll
God.
see that as we go through. So
Wow.
Type 16. Then if we jump to the Type 18, which is a very significant car, it's the first car that won Formula 1 race.
Crazy.
Go to this. I don't know if this is the chassis, I don't know what they're after.
Unbelievable. Look at that. They're all here. They're all here.
Yes, and Bob Walker colours, who was a customer race team.
The car that defined how F1 cars look like now.
We're now stepping into rear engine.
Rear engine.
Still using a space frame chassis, so you can see there's still a lot of space for the driver to rattle around in.
Yep.
And no transmission tunnel.
No, because
at
the
the back?
gear change goes straight into the gearbox at the back. But the interesting thing with the Type the 18 is that this was the first car or the first Lotus to win a Formula 1 race, but it wasn't with Team Lotus. So it was in 1960 at the Monaco Grand Prix. It was a team called Bob Walker Racing, and the driver was Sterling Moss,
Oh.
but not racing for Lotus. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is that chassis. It's painted like it, but I don't know if it's the chassis.
Sterling Moss. Wow.
So this is the first time I had a mid-engine.
Yeah. But like I said earlier, it's still.
And so the fuel tank is inside the side here.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So, this is my favourite Lotus, I think. This is significantly important for many reasons. This is the Type 49 from 1967, and this is a car with many firsts and many innovations. Now, you saw in the Jim Clark car behind you, we had semi-monocoque. We're now at true monocoque phase. So the chassis stops here in this mid-plane of the car and is a monocoque chassis just down to the front, where the driver sits in it properly. The chassis is around them, the fuel tank is down beside and around behind them. And then, importantly, from the bulkhead back, the engine is now a stressed member of the chassis.
Yep.
And so the gearbox and all of the rear suspension is all structurally hung off the engine. And the engine butts up perfectly flat and is bolted on by only 4 bolts. 1, 2, and then 2 underneath at the same sort of space.
Wow.
So now you've got a proper mid to rear engine chassis, or car, sorry, a proper monocoque, and the importance of this engine is that in 1967, the Ford DFV was first released, and that design of engine ran for 15 years until 1982.
Wow.
And it won 150 Formula One Grand Prix races. Its first win was in its first race, in its first car, in one of these with a Lotus, and its last win in 1982 was with a Lotus as well.
Wow.
The 91, which is, I think it's all over there somewhere.
What's this like? Type 40?
49.
49.
So this is the famous Cosworth DFB engine. Colin, obviously, so Cosworth, Frank Costin, and is it Costin? Frank? I can never remember the names that make up Cosworth, but one of them used to work for Colin Chapman at Lotus, went away and did set up Cosworth. So Colin convinced Ford to invest £100,000 in designing this engine. He wanted an engine that was part of the structure of the engine.
Okay.
So from the 72, we went to, I need to check if that's the 77 or the 76.
77.
This one here is the 77. So the 78 was the next one with the first ground effect, and then the 79. So this isn't the one with that used to have a four.
Oh, this one. So the long side ports is actually there to help trap the air. Amazing.
So can you say it again about what they found about ground effects there and perfected it here?
Yeah, so what you need to do is look underneath the car. Is the best way to see it.
Okay.
So what you can see under the car, come around the back and have a proper good look under.
Ah, there's a plate there.
No, that's just to catch oil. Right underneath.
Yeah.
So you can see all the way down there.
Oh yes.
Can you see it? And it's perfectly sculpted on either side of the car. So the air can travel perfectly down those two channels, either side of the car. And when the skirts are deployed, that is a proper, the air can't escape out to the edge there. It can only, from the front to the rear, come out and speed up. So that is the Bernoulli principle in action.
Bernoulli principle.
With air being compressed through a small gap,
Yep.
so it speeds up. So effectively what is happening is the air under the car is travelling faster than the air over the car. So the air over the car is creating some downforce, but the air under the car is really sucking it to the ground and giving it.
Yep, this is where they keep all the trophies, all the memorabilia of Lotus's past. Amazing, amazing achievements. Alright, from the early days of racing, using a replica of an Austin, and then to the cigar-shaped F1 cars, where the engines are still in front, with the radiators up front, and then slowly they evolve into putting the engines at the back of the car to have better weight balance, to reduce the frontal nose section, but then they still have like the radiators up front. And then to this one, plenty of innovation was created. This engine that Ford built was a F1 winning engine for 15 years. Okay, this was the first whereby, you know, they have the front wings, but they still have the radiators up front to cool down the engine. And then, but they no longer have the engine in front, which requires a drive shaft to go in between the legs of the drivers to the back to drive the wheels, where instead now the engine is at the back, the transmission is at the back, but this was unique. Instead of a space frame or a monocoque chassis to mount the engine on top, the engine is now a stress member where they just build until here. The whole thing locks onto the engine because the engine is very strong. Everything else is screwed to the engine, and the engine becomes part of the car instead of needing a lot of tubes strong enough to hold an engine. Now they save all the weight, put the engine there, has a drive some lubrication, and then the engine can be mounted really, really low. This was ingenious, but you can see the car raised like these. It just raised like this because there was not that big of an emphasis yet on aero in this era. All they care for is weight reduction, power, and heat dissipation. Okay, there is a simple little wing up front to push the front down to have better steering, and then the brakes are still outside. Slowly they evolve into this. This was the first car where they moved the radiator to the sides to reduce the frontal area, so the frontal can be lowered so low that it is so low that, look at that two little bulge. Why? Now the disc brakes used to be around where it was supposed to be, but this one is inboard. They mounted the disc brakes inside so that it reduces the unsprung weight outside. And then look at this. Look at this. These two little cutouts to drive hot air out of the brakes. This is just so beautiful. I wish I can see a modern car where it has the disc brakes inboard and then with cutouts to dissipate air out. Right, this is still exposed again to where the engine serves as a stress member, but now for intake they have this on top to drive air into the engine, and then of course the exhaust. And then at the rear you have the inboard disc brakes as well, which Alfa Romeo thought is a good idea and put it in their passenger cars, and then overheated in the passenger cars. And this huge wing at the back. This is the F1 car that wins a lot of races. All these John Player Special, they win a lot of races. You see the older types where they have the engine up front, the whole body is really tall, the driver is there, there's a drive shaft that runs in between to the rear. You know, those are the older types, cigar shaped, they call it cigar shaped F1 cars, right? And then these ones is where they begin to focus on ground effect. Okay, arrows, see this is still exposed, right? But they've covered up a lot. Oh yeah, that car is the first F1 car with advertising. Gold leaf, right, a cigarette. But that is the first car that puts livery on race cars, put advertising so that you can keep the team running, establishes what F1 is today by Lotus. Yes. And thereon, racing cars are different from there on, you know. It's for advertising. Okay, and then the ground effect cars begin with those whereby they elongated the side ports so that they have little cardboards on the side. Not cardboards, basically they trap the air in. So for those who know, ground effect would be you have the cars trapping the air so that the air below the car travels out faster. When you squeeze the outlet of air, they travel faster. When they travel faster, they create a lower pressure. Lower pressure sucks the car down. Amazing. These things are all Lotus engineered. I mean, it all came from Colin Chapman. And my next video I want to talk about is Hazel Chapman. Alright, Hazel Chapman, because she arguably played as big a role in Lotus as Colin Chapman. Without Hazel Chapman, there wouldn't be Lotus, there wouldn't be Colin Chapman. Okay, maybe I'll say it in the same video. Right, Colin Chapman started building the first car in Hazel Chapman's parents' yard or barn, and it was Hazel Chapman who funded Colin Chapman, much like Carl Benz's wife that funded Carl Benz's creation of the first car. And Hazel Chapman played a very, very important role throughout the life of Colin Chapman and the success of Lotus as the woman behind. And when Colin Chapman passed away due to heart attack at a young age of 54, it was Hazel Chapman that continued on the company, the racing team, the legacy. She was the one who kept everybody together, the team together, despite the loss of her husband, despite juggling between her children. She was there all along. Alright, so recently Lotus China published a book about Hazel Chapman and her contributions to Lotus, and the book was presented to Clive Chapman, the son of Colin Chapman, where I was fortunate enough to shake his hands downstairs, and it's just amazing. Look at all the cars that Lotus has built. Look at that. All the creations that they have made is crazy. It is crazy how much they progress Formula One. Okay. You can literally see from the beginning of how F1 cars look to how they become. Alright, look at that. It's amazing. Yep. Just staggering. And this place is where they help restore customers' cars. Okay, this is where they restore customers' cars. I want to show you the things that they do here. So there are a lot of customers who buy old Lotus racing cars and they keep them, and this is where they can send their cars. Will I see anything special? Nothing much. There were some racing cars just now, some old ones. Yeah, it's amazing. I want to show you Hazel Chapman. Look at that. And that is Hazel Chapman next to Ayrton Senna. And that's Colin Chapman. And she kept the team, she kept the company running after her husband passed away. She's an important figure at Lotus. Okay? Cheers. That is a jet engine Formula One car. Amazing. All the stuff they do. It's crazy. So this is where they keep the customers' cars alive. There are people who buy up these old racing cars and they help them keep their cars in good condition. This one was a couple of years ago. They created this car for sale and they sold 15 of them to customers who want to experience open wheel racing cars. So this one has arrows that sort of perform like a Formula 2 car. Yeah, pretty cool. Just amazing.
He's obviously very keen.